What up, y'all? It's DJ Envy.
And I am Gia Casey.
And this is another edition of the KC Crew.
Welcome.
You know, first, I want to start the show with this. I know last episode we told everybody that Gia was going to fill them in on the facial regimen and her beauty regimen of how she does her face and clean her face and moisturize her face. But before we do that, because there's going to be a lot of dudes probably like, I don't want to hear that shit. Because I honestly don't want to hear that shit. But I'm intrigued a little bit because it's a lot of shit to go through. So
it is a lot to talk about.
Before we do that, let's do that at the end of the show. And let's do some of the emails and all that other stuff first.
I like that.
Okay.
This way, when they're done hearing what they came for, they can tune out.
Correct.
Okay. Correct. And anyone that's interested in skincare can stick around.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So dude's going to be like, I'm out of here in 30 minutes. First, I have a confession.
Confession?
Yes.
Don't get fucked up.
I have a confession. I did something that we don't usually do.
Okay, what?
There's an unwritten rule in this household that we abide by when it comes to me and you. Okay.
There's a few of them.
Yeah, but this one is a very, very, very big rule in our house. Usually, when there's a show that we watch on TV, we watch it together.
You about to get bleeped up.
And
you about to get bleeped up.
I watched the show.
Don't tell me. You don't want to tell me.
I watched the show without you.
You don't want to tell me. What did you watch without me?
I watched the show without you, right?
What, El Chapo?
No, it wasn't El Chapo.
Narcos?
No, it wasn't Narcos.
What did you watch? It
was a show called Shy.
You watched it without me?
I watched the first episode without you.
The Netflix original?
Yeah, no, it's a Showtime show.
Oh, I thought it was on Netflix.
No, it's on Showtime. Lena Waithe, who is the writer of the show, was coming to the Breakfast Club to do an interview. And also Jason Mitchell, who's the star of the show. He's the one that played Eazy-E in Straight Outta Compton.
Okay,
They were coming on the show, and I had to watch it, so I knew what I was asking. So I watched it. Right.
So that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me.
What do you mean?
Okay. Well, before I dissect this, when did you watch it?
The morning Lena Waithe was coming to the Breakfast Club.
So that doesn't really sound all that possible.
What do you mean?
You wake up and you leave the house at about 4:45 in the morning. And as soon as you get to work, it's showtime. You're on live at 6 o'clock.
No, in between commercials, in between songs, I watch 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here. Bottom line is I watched the first episode. I did. So that's my confession to you.
So why didn't you watch it the night before? Include your homie? Like, what's going on?
I didn't remember that they were coming on the show to that morning, so that's why I watched it during the show.
Okay.
But it's very, very good.
Oh, yeah? I heard it was really good.
The Shy is very, very good. So we can watch the first episode again because I had to watch it in parts, so I would love to watch it again. But I just want to tell people out there the Shy is dope. This is not a paid endorsement. I just seen it and love the show.
But are all of the episodes out?
No. This is Showtime, so it's every week.
So it's live. It's like live television.
Well, yeah, I guess you could say that live every week. It's released one episode.
Well, that's what I mean. Okay. All right, cool.
Also, I didn't even tell Gia about this, so you guys are finding out when Gia's finding out. A lot of you guys asked when the next live show is going to be.
You have a date?
Yes.
How do you have a date without telling me? How do I find out with everybody else? This doesn't make any sense.
Well, you're not going anywhere anyway. You going with me anyway. This year, it's going to be at the...
You're not starting out very well.
What?
Today.
What?
You're not doing too good.
Well, it's going to be at the Highline Ballroom. Highline Ballroom in Manhattan. Now, the date is February 19th. February 19th.
What day of the week is that?
That's a Monday.
A Monday?
Yeah, Monday, because people have off on that Monday because
okay.
I think it's President's Weekend. So you have off on that Monday.
Presidents have a whole weekend?
Well, they have the day, Monday.
Just curious. I thought maybe
it's a
they threw another
weekend.
president in there.
Stupid. So that Monday, we're doing a live broadcast right from Highline Ballroom. You could go to Highline, I believe it's highlineballroom.com and get your tickets. It's the Casey Crew and Friends. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be just a night out with the Casey Crew. So we're going to do a podcast. There's dinner. There's drinks. We'll have some comedians start off the show. It's just going to be a great night.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
So fellas, if you're looking for a perfect Valentine's Day gift, I know it's a couple days after Valentine's, but this is perfect. We're going to have a great time. time. We're going to have dinner. We're going to be talking podcast stuff and relationship stuff. And we're going to have some comedians. So again, it's highlineballroom.com. February 19th. Get your tickets fast. We're only doing one show. Last year, we did 2 shows. We did one show and it sold out so fast that we immediately did 2 shows.
Yeah, we added another show.
Yeah, but this year, we only doing one show.
Yeah, because I don't want to feel pressured. I don't want to feel the pressure of time.
Right.
Well, as you guys know, I don't like to feel the pressure of time. I just like to, talk freely. And when we're organically done, we're done. But, when you're on a time limit or when you have another show coming up next, you have to get out by a certain time.
Right.
So they're flashing the red light at you in the back of the room. I don't want that.
So again, we are doing a show, Highline Ballroom, February 19th. That's a Monday. There's no work that day because of President's Day. Come on out. Make it date night. Right now, if you need a babysitter, get the babysitters lined up. February 19th, we're going to have a great time at Highline Ballroom. Dinner, dinner, podcast, and drinks. Got some comedians coming through, some special guests. So again, that's February 19th. Get your tickets now because it will sell out. And I would love to hang out with y'all. That'd be a lot of fun.
Okay, good.
And also, I know this is a lot we start to show it. I didn't know that you're not supposed to swallow chloroseptic. Did you know that? Since I was a child, if I had a sore throat, I've been swallowing chloroseptic. The other day, pause. The other day, Madison came in the room. She asked for chloroseptic. She said her throat was bothering her. Mm-hmm. And she said, Dad, you just sprayed it and swallowed it. I said, yeah, what's wrong with that? She said, you're not supposed to. I said, what do you mean? She said, did you read the directions? I said, no. Mm-hmm. I said, as a child, I spray, swallow, keep moving. Pause. She says, no, you're supposed to gargle with it and then spit it out.
Oh, you're supposed to goggle with it?
Yeah, gargle with it. Gargle, whatever.
I just said goggle.
Gargle with it, and then spit it out. I never knew that. So for all these years, I was swallowing chloroseptic, but I haven't died yet from chloroseptic. So, but I didn't know that. I just had to spray some right now. I didn't know that you were supposed to.
I didn't know that you. Can you stop? You've been walking around with this bottle of chloroseptic in your back pocket for like 4 days now.
My throat's been a little kooky, crazy.
You've been a little under the weather lately.
Yeah,
I feel badly for you.
All right, well, let's get to the show. All right, now before Gia gets into her beauty regimen, let's talk about a lot of things that's going on. I want to get to the email of the week first. All right, now the first email of the week. Hi, Gia and Envy. My husband and I have been at odds for 9 days. New Year's Eve, he got shit-faced drunk while my 7-year-old son had a friend over. He is an alcoholic and I'm over it. I told him that I want to separate, but now is promising me that he will do anything not to lose his family. We argue every night after work because he wants a drink. He picks fights over anything because I know he's going through withdrawal. I was miserable with his drinking, but now he's still driving me crazy. How can I stay strong? Now, the reason I picked this is because alcohol is serious. We talked about it on a pod, I think maybe 2 podcasts ago. Now, what do you suggest? Because he's going through something. He's trying to stop drinking. And because he's trying to stop drinking, he's becoming a little bit of a dickhead.
Well, we've had some friends that have suffered alcoholism. And what I realize is that when it comes to alcoholics, it's easy for a non-alcoholic to say, just stop drinking.
Correct.
Because you may not know, and you definitely don't understand what it's like to be addicted to something.
Correct.
I think that we take for granted the freedom of, eating what you want, drinking what you want. But when you're addicted to something, I think it's a whole other monster.
Correct.
And it takes control of you. And when they say that they have to have it or they need it, they have to have it.
Right.
And they need it.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the times that comes first. That comes before everything else. It comes before marriage. Sometimes, unfortunately, it comes before kids. Sometimes it comes before their job. A lot of the times people that are addicted to drugs will steal from their family. They'll steal from their job to support their habit. And it's not necessarily because they're bad people, but it's because the drug or the alcohol is taking control of them.
Correct.
So if this is someone that she loves, I think that the first thing that she has to do is come to terms with that. Understand that it's not necessarily an indication of how he feels about you or how he feels about his family. It's just him succumbing to the nature of the disease.
Right.
If you love him, and clearly you do, because that's your husband, I would suggest that you and him begin to take steps to remedy the situation as a whole. He needs rehab. If he's coming home and he's starting fights and he's aggressive, if he says that he's going to stop and he doesn't, if he says he'll do anything to save his family, and then every night you're having an argument with him about having a drink, even if it's a little one, you know, he has to stop. He has to stop cold turkey, and he clearly doesn't understand that. So I think that he needs to go to rehab, and you have to support him going through rehab. He may start, he may stop, he may check in, he may check out. You know, it seems like people that go through rehab, there's the supporters of them have an uphill battle, as do they. But you have to be committed, because that's not your boyfriend. That's your husband. And, you know, when you take those vows, you have no choice but to support him, uphold him, uplift him, and be there for him during his toughest times. So I think that that's where you begin. But I believe that a lot of times if a person feels as though you're going to be there anyway, they take advantage. Like, he has to understand that you're there and you'll support him, but he has to be serious about it, and he has to be committed. Absolutely. Because if he takes you for granted during this process, it'll be a lot easier for him to backslide.
Correct.
You know, but if you're tough and you're strict about what he has to do to keep you there, like, it's not just a freebie. Like, he doesn't just get like, you're not supposed to just be there because, you know, you're there for the abuse. No. He has to be serious and he has to be committed. And if he shows you those signs, then I would continue with the support.
Absolutely. And also, I was talking to my dad about just drinking. And my dad was telling me that he was an alcoholic, that he used to drink a lot. And he said it would just take him away from everything that was going on in the world. And he said when he got home, my mother said he was like a mean drunk. A
mean drunk.
So he was one of those, when he got drunk, he was just attitudinal, just nasty, angry, disrespectful. And my dad said he had to stop drinking when he had me because he seen how it was affecting the family. So, I mean, alcohol definitely does that. We talked about alcohol a couple of episodes ago, but, you know, in that situation, you know, like you said, you have to get him help. He's trying to stop on his own, and it's very difficult because that alcohol really has a holding on you. So I would tell you, like Gia said, definitely try to get him some help. You know, try to get into rehab and try to go to classes with him so you can kind of understand what he's going through, because it might be difficult for him to talk to you.
But now, what do you suggest that she do if he's resistant? Because right now we're just taking for granted that he's just going to go on off to rehab. What if he's resistant? What if he perpetually says, well, you know, I'm going to kick this thing myself. Right. You know, it's just going to take time, or bear with me, and he refuses to go to rehab. Then what?
I mean, then she...
Because I don't think people typically go happily.
No, not at all.
A lot of times they're forced into it.
But she has to, you know, be stern and really tell her that you might lose your family because of this. You know?
You mean for her to tell him that?
For her to tell him that he might lose his family over this alcohol, over this drug, this addicting drug, and he has to take it serious.
But play it out. Let's say he refuses to go.
Then
like that. Let's say that this is the email. Okay. Email number 2. I took your advice. He refuses to go to rehab. What do I do now?
Well, then it has to get to a point where she has to say, okay, well, if it's affecting their relationship where she's not happy and the household is not happy, then she has to do what's best for her and her kids.
Which is?
It might be, all right, well, then we need a separation until we figure this out, you know, and hopefully he would be like, I don't want a separation. I want my family together. So I'm going to do whatever is possible it is to make sure that we stay together.
But what I realize with people in relationship is that threats rarely work.
Right.
When you show your significant other that you're about business and there are just certain things that you're not going to tolerate, and they believe you, if you're convincing and if it's really coming from an honest place within you, and you're not faking, they can sense it.
Absolutely.
And if they want you, if they want their current situation, then they'll get with the program.
Absolutely.
And if they don't, then it's very telling, isn't it? It tells you that you're not the priority in their life.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And that leads me to what I want to talk about next.
Okay.
And I know we're going to do a couple of emails, but we'll do the emails next week, because what I want to do is something that was real that we spoke about the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Now, shout out to 50 Cent. The other night we went to the screening of his new movie, Den of Thieves.
Yes.
And the movie is definitely dope. And I encourage you guys to go see it. I know a lot of times when rappers are in movie, it's sometimes corny, it's whack, it's shot horrible. But this movie is very, very, very dope.
This movie was very
has
good.
Gerard Butler in it. That's the guy from 300. Pablo Schreiner. O'Shea Jackson Jr., which is Ice Cube's son. And Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, which is very, very dope. So definitely, if you get a chance, go see it. It's action-packed. It's... it takes you on turns in the movie. It makes you think. It's definitely a dope movie. But on the way back, we were talking about our relationship early on. And I just want to tell people that if you're in a relationship and the relationship is early on, or you just get married, you have to nip things in the bud.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but our conversation yesterday in the car is kind of what stimulated my response to the previous email about, don't talk about it, be about it.
Right.
Go ahead.
And the reason I'm sounding a little crazy because I have a little cold. I get like a little cold like every 2-3 months. I get like a cold for like 3 days strong, and it seems like it's always when I'm taping the podcast.
Go ahead.
So and we were talking about nipping things in the bud. So if there's a problem in your relationship that you don't like, you have to nip it in the bud early, because I'm explaining to you what happened in our relationship. So in our relationship, let's say Gia and I got into an argument in a mall, and I walked away from her in the mall. When we were young, Gia would chase me in the mall trying to work out our problem. And for me, it became, oh, word, she's going to chase me when I leave her in the mall? All right, well, now I'm going to leave her on the highway and walk and let her chase me again. Or word, she's going to chase me then? All right, now I'm going to punch a hole in the wall. And my actions got worse and worse and worse because you didn't nip it in the bud at first.
Right.
And if you would have nipped it in the bud the first time I walked away from you in the mall, I wouldn't have done it again because I know I wouldn't have got a reaction.
Right. It's not necessarily that I didn't nip it in the bud.
Hold on, babe. Pass me some of that water. My throat is dry.
Okay. Here.
Go ahead.
It wasn't necessarily that I didn't nip it in the bud. In my book, I was nipping it in the bud, but you were so, and this word sounds heavy, and I don't necessarily mean it in the heavy way, but it actually is the right word for the situation. You were manipulative. And I think that early on in the relationship, you manipulated me because you knew that, we were young and we were in love and we pretty much lived for each other.
Correct.
I didn't do anything that didn't include you, and you didn't do anything that didn't include me. And I think that because you knew that, you used that against me. So when you would walk away, it would be because we would be out. And we talked about this in one of the early podcasts from last year, where we talk about it in depth. I don't remember what it was called, but I don't want to go through the whole story because it'll eat up a lot of time and be, repetitive. But early in the relationship, if I did something and we were out in public and I hurt your feelings. So let's say I said something to you that you didn't like, or I made a comment that you didn't like, or it could be something as simple as us driving down the street and there could be a guy standing on the sidewalk. If you thought that I noticed him and turned my head, you would pull over and start walking. Right. Get out the car. I can't take this. I love you and this is how you treat me. It was like a big theatrical thing. Correct. And I would get out and I would feel as though I offended you. Right. And I'd be like, no, I didn't look at him. I was looking at the stop sign or, whatever it was. And I would try to remedy your feelings.
Right.
I would try to take care of you. I would try to fix it. You know, if I hurt you, I wanted to fix it. And that was kind of always your ploy. You know, you always did something and made me feel like I did something wrong. So even if I didn't think that I did something wrong, my perception was, well, if he feels as though I did something wrong, let me make that right. Let me explain to him that I didn't. So I would chase you. I would walk. I would, you know, do whatever. And it wasn't just the walking. It was all types of different scenarios where you would use how I felt for you against me.
Right.
In a sense. And because you knew that I was solid and that, I've heard you put it before, I wasn't going anywhere. You felt comfortable. And because you felt so comfortable, it was like, oh, I can do whatever. And she's going to be here. All I have to do is, and you always had that lockbox of, you know, things like, these are the things that I have to do. If I mess up, these are the things that I have to do. If I talk to her crazy, these are the things that I have to do. If I insult her, these are the things that I have to do. And those things in that lockbox was always making me feel bad for you. Right?
Yep. Absolutely. But because of that, I'm not going to say it made me because it was wrong. It allowed me to do things past just that. For instance, perfect example is if we were on the phone and we got into an argument and I hung up on you.
Yep.
You would call me right back, which made me feel like, oh, word, she will do, not what she will do anything, but I have her on that string. So now
you felt powerful.
Now instead of, exactly.
You felt powerful.
So now instead of hanging up on you once, I'd hang up on you twice and you call back.
Right.
And that was, it's almost like a child. And I think in a relationship, I think, you know, with a child, if you encourage bad behavior,
or if you let it slide,
right, they'll continue to do it. And this is on both sides. I mean, fellas, if your girl does something disrespectful and wrong, and if you cater to it and don't nip it in the bud early, you know, don't say, I don't like this early, and be strong with it, she'll continue to do it. And ladies, the same way. And I was that person. I was the one that when Gia gave me an inch, I'm going to take a foot, you know, and then when she gave me a foot, I'm going to take 6 feet, you know what I mean? And that's what it was. And the reason I'm saying that now is because a lot of people in relationships, and it's not that I'm going to say people do it on purpose, because maybe people do it on purpose. But for me, it was just like, it was natural. It's kind of like,
it's human nature.
Yeah, it's human nature.
It really is human nature.
Like, you know, if your mom says take a M&M, you take 2. And then if you don't get in trouble, you take 4. The next time you don't get in trouble, you take 8. You know what I mean? And that was what our relationship was doing. Like, you know, I knew that if you offended me or you did something I didn't like, and instead of me facing it and we have a conversation about it, I would act like a little bitch or I act like a little girl, and you would chase behind me. And that chase behind me gave me, it felt like I had that power.
Like you had me on a string.
And like I had you on a string.
Yeah.
And I would just keep pulling to see how long I could pull that string, how long I could make that string. So, you know, we were going back to our relationship the other night in the car, and I was like, wow. I remember one time, you know, and we would get, and who even knew what the arguments were about? It wasn't even nothing real.
Oh yeah, none of the arguments were ever over anything important. And you have to take in consideration, at this time we were 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Right. 21.
Yeah, early on in our relationship.
22.
But I always felt like
so it was like a growing pain.
If you would have nipped it in the bud early, I wouldn't have did a lot of the stupid shit that I did. But I mean, I'm grateful because we're able to talk about it now, and hopefully people are going through in their relationship and be like, really, I see exactly what they're talking about.
Help you identify it if it's going on in your relationship, especially for some of our younger listeners. But it's not as though I thought that I was doing the most.
Right.
You know, you would do something like that, like when you did punch a hole in the wall.
Now let me explain the story. Gia and I got into an argument at her mother's house. I had the balls, and I knew what I was doing. It wasn't like I was so mad that I lost control and punched the hole in the wall.
So wait a minute. So you really did know what you were doing?
Absolutely.
It wasn't impulsive. It wasn't heat of the moment. You were so overcome with anger or frustration.
No, some things are impulsive, and some things are out of anger, but I can get mad at you because I knew where it would go. Let's say,
you could predict the outcome.
Right. Let's say I got mad at you and I walked out. You chased me. I knew that I had the power.
Right.
So now it's just a fact for me to see how far I can take it.
Mm-hmm.
So I punched a hole in your mother's wall.
Yeah, in her bedroom.
In her bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And you didn't leave me.
Mm-hmm. I tried to.
It was a conversation and you got mad, but...
No, I tried to break up with you.
Right.
Like during that time, during those, first, 5 years, 6 years of our relationship, I might have told you it was over 30 times.
Correct.
Like I literally tried to break up with you so many times, and I would pack my things out of your apartment and I would leave, but you always tugged on my heartstrings.
Correct.
You always did something special, or you made me feel badly for you, or you always did something to pull me back.
Correct.
And I mean, I could think of 1,000 different things that you did, but I really thought that I was being solid.
Right.
About it. I thought that I was being stern. And a lot of times when I tried to break up with you, I meant it. Like they weren't threats.
Right.
They weren't, okay, well, let me threaten to break up with him and let me see if he gets right. There were times I really wanted it to be over because it was too much and you were so extra.
Yeah.
And
I was continuing to be extra because I knew every time I was extra, you would cater to me. I would punch a hole in your mother's wall and then I would sit there and act like I broke my arm or broke my fist, and you would run over with some ice and be like, are you okay? And I knew I had you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. But a person wouldn't necessarily think, especially not a young person that's inexperienced in like the first real relationship of their lives. Like I wouldn't think that you would, in a calculated way, put your fist through my mother's wall without it being an impulse act.
Right.
I thought that you were just so overcome. And then when you did it, I'm like, oh, this dumbass, now his wrist might be broken. And yeah, of course I'm gonna get you some ice, and you apologize. And I don't know, it didn't make sense to me that you would go through all of these changes just to have to turn around and do all of the work that you'd have to do to fix it. No, that didn't make any sense to me. So for me, what you were doing in the first place, all of these bad acts, I thought was just coming to you naturally.
No, but
do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, you're not going to just jump out the window and do these things, because now you got to turn around and do the work to fix it. No. And I wasn't easy. Like you had to do a lot.
But I did it. I mean, think about it. Up until 5 years ago, I would throw shit around the house.
No, you weren't throwing shit around the house 5 years ago.
What, 7 years ago?
No.
We were in this house. We'd been in this house, 11 years?
We've been in this house 11 years. When's the last time you threw something?
I don't know, but
I don't know. Hold on. I don't remember you throwing anything. But remember, I used in the last 11 years.
I used to throw shit around the house.
Definitely not in this house.
I used to throw stuff around the house. And
maybe in our last house, you might have thrown a couple of things.
But then I would have to replace it because I would break shit.
Oh my gosh, you would break things and then have to turn around and spend money to replace them or fix them. So for me, I'm not thinking that you would do that purposefully.
But remember, when I did it, the first thing that you would do is be like, oh, he's angry. And then you would, if you were upset, it would bring you back in.
That's the perfect point.
It works.
You know what? Okay.
Every time.
Let me explain that, because that's exactly what it was. I think the reason why you did a lot of the outlandish things that you did was because we might be arguing about, let's just say, the way you spoke to me in a certain situation.
Okay.
And I'm waving the flag of you're not going to disrespect me, etc. And I might be turning into like a little monster. I might be getting riled up and upset, and the argument is going, and it's going to a place where you don't want it to go. You don't want it to end in I'm packing my stuff or it's over or anything like that. So what you would do would be something crazy, like breaking a coffee table, breaking
a lamp,
a dresser, or a picture frame.
Correct.
You broke all of these things.
Right.
No, you never broke a dresser, but you've done all of those things. So you would do all of that. So now it takes the heat off of what you did, and now we're dealing with a different problem.
Correct.
You would redirect the focus to something else. And usually it would be you redirecting it to something that would make me feel badly for you. So the perfect example is when you did put the hole through my mother's wall. Now all of a sudden the problem is that you're injured.
Right.
So now we're damn near forgetting about what it was that started the argument. Now we got to worry about whether we have to take you to the hospital.
Correct.
The fact that we have to ice it, we got to wrap it, we got to bandage it and whatnot. And then in the process of me caring for you, then it would turn into, babe, I'm sorry. I know what I did was wrong. I'll never treat you like that again. So then it kind of gave you a segue into an apology without having to do the real work for it. And that was the friggin' pattern over and over and over again for a very long time.
Right.
And I identified it, but I also knew that, especially at that time, you were a sensitive person. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And you still are. Like, you get your feelings hurt easily.
Right.
But
I don't throw shit. I don't throw shit no more.
Well, that's what I was saying. You haven't thrown anything. Like, I can't remember the last time you threw something.
But that was my way of getting you back in. And it always worked. And the reason that made me even think about it
was a freaking ploy.
Yeah, I mean, it worked. But I didn't think about it, though.
It's kind of like the perfect thing, like hindsight is 20/20.
Right.
Like, I look back at it right now and it's so crystal clear.
Obvious, right.
But when you're in it, you don't see it as clearly.
Right.
And
the reason that made me think about it, I was like, we have, of course, a 16-year-old that's going to, be dating and seeing men. And I was like,
Men?
Well, guys, whoever she's dating, what I mean? Boys, whatever, teens.
They're definitely going to be boys.
Okay, boys.
Men.
You know what I meant. But I was like, I just want to make sure she understands and knows these things. So if somebody does get a little aggressive or a little, she knows, this is not going to happen in this situation. So it's nipped in the bud early, so nobody ever knows that. And same thing with our son, with girls, the same thing. No, you're not going to act crazy. No, you're not going to sit here and key my car and I think it's all good. Or you're not going to cut my clothes or do anything small, slap me. No, that's not going to happen.
Okay, so slapping someone's not small.
I mean, but, most men out there have been slapped before. And I guarantee the men that have been slapped stayed with the girl.
You think so?
Absolutely. But to say that, in a relationship, especially early on, you have to nip things in the bud early so those patterns don't get worse and worse and worse and worse and get out of control.
But that's a good thing for our kids, especially because we've been through
hell and back.
Yes, we've been through so much together in our relationship, and
that's called septic spelling.
Yeah. And we've come through it, and we're at a point where we can go back and be accountable for the things that we've done, take responsibility for it, dissect it, and, be able to regurgitate it. You know, like we can talk about it. Like there's clarity now. So we're, at a point that we can really talk to our kids about it. So for instance, what I'm assuming is that we'll get emails and comments and DMs of people saying, okay, so what about the elephant in the room? What did your mom do? Or what did your mom say if she wasn't there when she came home to a hole in the wall?
Right.
Didn't she identify that you're with someone that's a little bit off their rocker or, not wrapped too tight?
But your mom loved me so.
But my mom loved him. So, it's funny when you're in a relationship with somebody.
Oh, by the way, let me throw this out there because people always say this. It had nothing to do with me being DJ Envy because at the time there was no DJ Envy. I was broken in a beeper with no wires. Nobody gave a F about no money.
I mean, you were still DJ Envy,
but I didn't have shit.
You were a budding DJ Envy.
I didn't have shit. Put it like this. That was before we even bought our first home, and our first home we had to borrow money from your mother to get in.
Yeah, like this is college.
People always say, "Well, Gia stayed because Gia stayed with Envy with all the stupid shit that he did because money." No, I didn't have no money. I was dead broke. Dead broke. I didn't have shit.
No, this is young love. Yeah. That's what that was.
But your mom loved me, and I'm so appreciative to that,
Yes, I forgot what I was going to say.
And we were talking about...
no, I was going to make a point.
Then... I cut you off?
Yeah, but it's okay.
Oh.
But anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. But my mom, she she really adored you.
Right.
So, now I know what I was going to say. A lot of times when you're in a relationship with somebody and they treat you badly, or it can be an isolated incident where they do something bad to you. When it comes to your loved ones, a lot of times we tend to downplay what was done because it's bad enough that we know what happened and we're judging the person that we're with. We don't want our mothers, aunts, or closest friends judging them, because once you tell them how bad it really is or what really happened, or if you're completely transparent about it, then they form an opinion. And a lot of the time, they're not in love with that person. They're not sleeping with that person. They're not seeing all of the good of that person. My mom always used to say, a person can be amazing to you for a lifetime and then do one bad thing, and that's the thing that you remember. Or when that person comes to mind, that's the thing that you'll mention, the one bad thing that they did. So it's kind of the same way when you tell friends and family about something bad that the person that you're with has done. That's the thing that they remember. That's the thing that they cling on to. So, I probably tried to make light of it. I might have said something like, oh, well, he was frustrated, or, we got into an argument and I said blah, 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 and that's how he reacted. I'm sure that I downplayed it in some way to take some of the heat off of you, because I didn't want her to judge you.
Correct.
I didn't want her to have a bad opinion of you. And I know that's something that typically happens, males and females in relationships. We want the person that we're with to be judged favorably by our other loved ones.
Right.
So, you came in, you apologized to my mother, you explained what happened from your point of view. You said nothing like that would never happen again. I told her that it was no indication of you being violent, because, you were never violent. Like, you've never struck me or anything, but this is something we can talk about a little bit too, because it's important. It's definitely part of the subject. You've never struck me, you never slapped me or punched me or hit me or anything.
I should have.
Excuse you?
I should have.
I'm confused.
I should have punched you.
All right, get your joke off. Like, what are you trying to say?
No, I'm being serious. There's one time in our relationship where I should have punched you in your fucking face.
Do we have to talk about that?
Oh, you know what time I'm talking about.
I definitely know. Why do you always bring that up? You were really scarred by that, weren't you?
Yeah, I was scarred by that. One time, Gia and I were fake wrestling, and she put me in a headlock, and I almost died. Like, I could remember, like, I could see myself not breathing. My eyes were popping out my head. My lips were turning purple. I was drooling, and I almost died. And I should have punched you in the face. Like, that's the only time.
No, you.
And because of that, I won't wrestle. I won't play with you. I don't want to play fight with you. Even if you want to be like, let's play fight. No. We
used to play fight all the time.
And then you almost killed me. And because you almost killed me, I don't want to play with you no more.
For me at that point, it was still jokes.
There's no jokes.
I didn't realize.
You see me laughing right now? I'm serious.
I didn't realize it was that far gone.
I don't believe in hitting women.
And I couldn't see your face. I was behind you.
I was almost dead. All right? There was blood coming out my ears. I was almost dead. You got to tell our kids, I killed your father. But go ahead. Sorry. Hold on. I think this. Hello?
Who are you?
No, this is, hello?
What are you doing?
What you say? I'm sorry?
Yo, are you kidding me?
Oh, hey, Jordan, can I call you back?
Is this a joke? You're sincerely about to get knocked out. We have an
appointment tomorrow at 4 p.m. at Elements at the massage joint.
If you don't get the hell off the phone right now.
All right, thank you, bro.
Who does that? Like, what is wrong with you?
I thought that might have been the kid's school because it was a 973 number. I just wanted to be sure. I wasn't sure. Sorry. This is live. We're live at the house, and today is no nanny day. So it's not like the nanny could go get the kids. Like, this is me and you.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, see, I forgot what I was saying again. Like, you can't do this.
Oh, we talking about, you said, we talking about I've never struck you. That's what you were saying.
Okay. So, yeah. But you absolutely, positively have shaken me before.
Yes.
You've definitely put me up against the wall before.
Yes.
This was all in college, or maybe even like 1 year out of college.
Right.
You've definitely been in some degree physical.
Yeah, sucker shit.
With me.
A lot of sucker shit.
And for me, and this is, Like if you're a young listener, and even if you're an older listener that could possibly be experiencing something like this, I'm going to take you through what it meant to me in my mind when things like that took place. And I could probably count on one hand. I'd say that it might have happened maybe 4 or 5 times early on. And for me, the way that I interpreted it, which is absolutely wrong, and I'm sure that you'll give your point of view from the male perspective and, what put you in a space where you did that. For me, I looked at it like he loves me so much that whatever is going on right now is driving him to this point.
Okay.
Like me, like I'm the entity in his life that can get him so infuriated that he gets to this point. So in a way, it made me feel as though you loved me that much more.
Right. And I am the king of teasing.
What do you mean teasing?
I don't want to talk about that this week. I want to talk about that next week. And the reason why is we have a lot of emails because I want to go through the emails as well. And that's a long topic. And I think that's a full show.
You think that's a full show?
Absolutely. Because I think in relationships, I think there's times when women get physical with men. And I think men get physical with women. And both sides, a lot of times, think it's something that it's not. And a lot of times people feel like, my man loves me so much that he shook the shit out of me, or my girl loves me so much that she slapped me or she put her hands on me. And I want to do a full show on that.
Or if she didn't love me that much, she wouldn't be so enraged to key my car.
Exactly.
I got her to that point. Well, let me ask you this. Do you want to do that now?
No, let's do that next week. Let's do that next week because that's a full show and we have stories upon stories upon stories about that.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
I'm thinking, what stories upon stories upon stories?
I mean, we have stories.
Like personal stories? Like our stories?
Yeah, personal stories and then a lot of emails. So I want to do a full show about that next week if you don't mind.
Okay, no, I don't mind. That's fine.
All right, but now what I want to get to that I'm sure a lot of people are into because a lot of women and fellas hit me and say, hey, what is the beauty regimen
or just a skincare regimen,
or a skincare regimen that your wife uses or that you use? You guys briefly talked about it a little bit. What does she do? How does she wash her face? How does she put moisturizer on? What does she do? And I know a lot of guys are like, I don't want to hear that shit, but that's why we decided to do it at the end of this week's podcast. So babe, tell them exactly what you do because people are so interested in it.
Well, I'll first start by saying that I don't get facials on a regular basis. People ask me that all the time, but I'm not really into facials, even though I'm sure that they can be extremely beneficial because I have a weird thing. Like, I don't like people touching my face. Mm-hmm. I've always had a thing. When I think about people touching my face, I think about little germy, bacteria-filled fingers on my face, and I feel as though I'm going to break out wherever they touched me.
I've gotten you a couple of facials before. What? I've given you a couple of facials.
You just can't resist, right?
Sorry, go ahead.
You just can't resist.
Sorry, go ahead.
Just, you feel like an opportunity presents itself and you just have to seize the moment, right?
We're honest here, but go ahead. Honestly, go ahead.
But I know a lot of females who get facials on a regular basis and their skin looks great. But a lot of the products that I use are professional grade somewhat. I don't know if they're completely professional grade, but I feel as though they give professional results. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the serums and the treatments and things that I use, I try to do my research and find specific products that have high percentages of ingredients that I know will be specifically beneficial to the skincare issues that I'm trying to address. Mm-hmm. It's funny. When you ask somebody what it is about their skin that they'd like to improve, you find that a lot of people are struggling, even adults. that are still struggling with acne, whiteheads, blackheads, uneven skin texture, dullness, lack of brightness, and all types of issues. And I feel as though my skincare regimen kind of addresses everything.
Well, before you get to how you wash your face and everything, I think it's very interesting why you don't sleep on a pillow. So explain to the people why the reason you sleep and how you sleep like that, because that's kind of weird to me. Well,
when it comes to wellness and care of my body, my mom taught me a lot of things. And some of you, your mothers might have taught you to always sleep on a silk pillow because that's better for your hair and better for your skin. It's less abrasive. It's smooth. It doesn't pull or tug at your skin. My mother taught me that when I sleep, not to let my face touch anything.
Okay.
So I took that information and I sleep on my back.
Right.
If I sleep on my side,
you sleep on your back a lot, but go ahead. Go ahead, I'm listening. Go.
I'm just going to ignore you. If I sleep on my side or if I sleep on my stomach, I prop my hands under my face in a way where it's not necessarily touching my face. It's more so on the side of my head, by my hairline or by my ear.
Okay.
So if you're looking at me, you'll notice that there's at least an inch of space between my face and the mattress or the pillow, because sometimes I don't even use a pillow when I sleep. And the reason for that is if you're settled into your comfy position of sleep, let's say it's on your side, on the left. And if you sleep in that position for, say, a period of 20 years, you're repeatedly creasing your face in the same manner night after night after night. And I believe that over a period of time, you'll look at your face and be able to tell that you sleep on, for instance, the left side, because I think that you're pressing creases into your face over a period of time. So I don't allow anything to touch my face ever. And I also feel as though no matter how many times you wash your sheets or your pillowcases, there's always going to exist some level of bacteria or impurities. And when you sleep and you're in one position for hours a night, I feel as though those impurities are being pressed into your forehead, into your face.
I got what you're saying.
So that's why I don't let my face touch anything when I sleep. Also, my mom taught me that, and everybody knows, whenever you see anything on skincare or any directions on the back of a bottle, they tell you apply the serum, apply the moisturizer in gentle upward circular strokes or in a gentle upward motion. Yes, I do that, but after I'm done doing that, I gently press the serum or the moisturizer into my skin because I feel as though that's pressing it deeper into the skin, thus making it more effective. I feel as though it penetrates a little bit better.
So now, let me ask. So let's excuse me. Let's go through your process of what you do every morning. So now, when you wake up in the morning, right? You wash your face. What's the first thing you do?
Well, the tried and true regimen that our moms and aunts probably use is cleanse, tone, moisturize. And that's great. But that doesn't allow for adequate makeup removal, and it doesn't allow for exfoliation, and it doesn't allow for treatment. That's a 3-step process. My process is much more extensive than that because I want to tackle a lot of different things twice a day.
So let's walk through it. So what's the first thing you do?
The first thing I do is cleanse.
Okay, so what do you use to cleanse?
Okay. In the morning, clearly I'm waking up with no makeup on and my skin was washed the night before. So I just use a gentle cleanser, and the cleanser that I love is by a brand called Tatcha. And I'm just going to put this out there. Nothing that we discuss today is sponsored, an endorsement, or anything of that nature. These are things that we've spent our money on and purchased ourselves that I sincerely love and we're doing this just in the spirit of sharing.
Now they can get this stuff from Sephora, right?
Yes. Well, the brand that I use to cleanse, exfoliate, and soften and moisturize actually is a brand called Tatcha. It's Tatcha.
Okay.
And they sell that at Sephora, but they don't sell the entire line. I think they sell their best-selling products at Sephora, but there are certain things that I use that I had to get from Tatcha.com.
Okay.
So there you have it. So the first thing that I do is cleanse with, it's a gentle cleanser. It's actually very new to the market. It just came out, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And Tatcha's nice. Tatcha, the history behind their brand is that the person that developed it, they went to Japan to unlock the secrets of the geishas. And geishas are known for having like beautiful, clear, pristine skin, and they were very much about wellness and beauty. So the premise of the brand is that this woman went there and she did tons of research and developed a whole technology, pretty much using the secrets of the geisha, if you will, as the foundation and the premise for the skincare line.
Okay.
And it's fantastic. I love it. So they have a gentle cleanser that I use in the morning, and then I follow it with one of my absolute favorite products. There are a few products that I will not be without. Everything that I use, I love, but they have a rice enzyme powder polish. It's called, and they have different ones. There's about maybe 4 different ones. The one that I love is called the Deep Polish, and it's an exfoliator. You take the powder, you pour a little bit into your wet hands, and then you apply it to your wet face. You pretty much lather it up. You rub your hands together. It creates like a nice, creamy, luxurious lather, and you apply it to your face in circular motions. And there are enzymes in it that pretty much eat up dirt, debris on the surface of your skin, and it exfoliates. And when you rinse it off, not only is your skin squeaky clean, but it's super soft. I look forward to using that every morning and every evening. The one I use is called the Deep Polish, and the Deep Polish has a few more benefits than their classic formulation. They have another one called the Indigo and whatnot, but I found that the Deep Polish is great. And I ordered that from Tatcha.com, but I think that they sell it at Sephora as well. So first I cleanse and then I exfoliate. And if you're interested in this product, the exfoliator is not a cleanser. You must cleanse before. In the evening.
So wait a minute. So let's back up. So I clean my face with this.
I clean my face with a deep cleanser.
Then my face still wet. Then I put this deep polish.
Then you put the deep polish on.
Okay, so deep polish.
Yes, you lather it up and then you use that. You exfoliate your face. I'm going to stop right there and say, I used to use a Clarisonic, and I'm sure a lot of you either have the Clarisonic or are interested in the Clarisonic. And I think that the Clarisonic is great. But I've found that with my new skincare regimen, I don't need the Clarisonic anymore. For those of you that might not know, it is an ultrasonic, I believe, a sonic or an ultrasonic brush that you turn it on and it vibrates, if you will.
Right. And
you use it in circular motions around your face to deeply cleanse and to exfoliate your skin. And I used that every day for years, and I thought it was fantastic. But with the things that I use now, I don't have to use that because the products that I'm using are exfoliating my skin. And if I were to use the Clarisonic, I think it would be like drastic overkill. So I've put that on the shelf. I don't even use that anymore. So after I exfoliate in the morning, I use a mask, and a lot of masks will say once or twice a week, but I use a mask every day. If you're using one mask, yes, you would use that one mask once or twice a week. But I use a different mask every day that addresses a separate skincare need. So masks can provide moisturization. It can clarify your pores. It can detox. It can brighten. It can firm. It can do a host of different things. So every day I carve out time to use a different mask, and I see the results. I see the results.
Right.
It's difficult. I know that a lot of people don't have the time, but for me, skincare and my skincare process can take 30 to 45 minutes. I'm going to explain that in a second. For me, it's me time.
Right.
It's like an indulgent time for me. I set my things up beautifully on the counter. I set them up in the order that I'm going to use them so that it's easy and I don't forget anything. Mm-hmm. I have a roll of paper towels there. That's what I use to dry and blot my face. In between steps, I have everything set up. I have my iPhone set up with my playlists, or I have my YouTube channel set up, and I'll play, a YouTube channel or something that I can learn from or whatever.
You guys listen to the podcast while you're doing this?
Yeah, like I make that time beneficial.
Right.
So I have it all set up and I dedicate that time for me. Now, in between a lot of the different steps, you have to like for instance, when you use a serum, you have to let it sit on your face for about, say, maybe 2 minutes. If you use an oil, you probably want it to sit, ideally, you would want it to sit on your face for about 15 minutes. So I don't just sit in the bathroom or sit at the vanity while it's penetrating my skin. I'll go and make the kids breakfast at that time. During the next step, I'll go and let the dog out. During the next step, I'll go and pick out my clothes or lay out my clothes for what I'm going to wear for the day or something like that. So I'm not just dedicating this entire time to
Correct.
skincare necessarily. I'm making myself useful
right.
at the same time. So I'll put on a mask and then I'll go downstairs and blend a smoothie or something like that. So I love Peter Thomas Roth's masks. I know a lot of people like Glam Glow, and Glam Glow is great. It was wildly popular at one point. I'm sure that it still is. But I like Peter Thomas Roth because he makes a host of different masks.
Okay.
He might make 6 masks that I could probably ramble off at the top of my head. I use a new one that just came out a few weeks ago. I think it's called the Hungarian Thermal Water Mask, which is great. I also use his Irish Moor Mud Mask, which I've used probably for 2 years. Love it. And I use his 24 karat gold mask. He also has a cucumber mask, which is like a gel mask. That's nice, but the first 3 are my favorite. My new favorite mask of all masks is by a brand called Drunk Elephant. And they're one of those breakthrough brands that are really doing great in the market right now. Their products are wildly popular, as are Tatcha and a couple of other ones that I'm going to tell you about. But they make a mask called Baby Facial. And the Baby Facial mask is a serious mask. It has 25%
Sounds like a pedophile did that one, but go ahead.
They have 25% alpha hydroxy acids and 2% beta hydroxy acids. And when you apply it to your face, it comes in a pump. When you apply it to your face, how would I explain it? If burning and tingling had a baby, that's kind of how it feels. Okay. And it's really because it's eating through that top layer of skin that doesn't need to be there.
Burning and tingling?
No, it doesn't burn.
Sounds like gonorrhea.
It's less than a burn, but more than a tingle.
Okay.
And I'm used to using acids and things like that on my face in my skincare routine, and this still has an effect on me.
Okay.
So I don't mind it. I let Madison try it one day, and you're supposed to leave it on for 20 minutes. I think she might have had it on for like 7 minutes, and she's like, oh gosh, I have to rinse this off, Right. But when you rinse it off, it reveals, as they indicate, like baby soft skin. It really does eat through that top layer of skin, and it really reveals clear, nice, like fresh skin, because it's like that underlayer.
Gotcha.
And I think you can use it up to twice a week. I just use it once a week. Okay. And that's really nice. And it addresses fine lines, brightness, like all of the things that I mentioned earlier. A lot of the products, they address a multitude of concerns.
Gotcha.
So after my mask, I do a peel every day. And that sounds extreme. Okay. If I wasn't into skincare and someone told me that they did a peel every day, like my ears would go up because that sounds serious. Okay. But It's not serious. A peel, for lack of a better explanation, to keep it quick, is usually in the form of a pad that's pre-soaked with a formula that contains a lot of acids. So different peels can address different things. One that is very, very popular, and I happen to know that it's one of Sephora's best-selling products store-wide, is Dr. Dennis Gross Alpha and Beta peels. They have a universal formula, and then they also have an advanced formula, which is like extra strength. I tried them. And I tried it for, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks. I personally didn't notice a significant result from them.
Okay.
But people love them. And every time I go into a different Sephora, I always ask about it and I ask for information. And they always say, yeah, it's one of our best selling products and people use it over the course of years. So I'm saying all that to say that, you can use something that's great for your skin and think that it's, skincare gold, and your friend might use it and think that it's horrible and it can have no effect on them. So when it comes to developing a regimen for yourself, you have to try and fail and figure out what's good for you.
What's best for your skin, correct?
What's best for your skin. So I didn't really notice a difference with that, but I would recommend for people to try it because it's not so popular and people don't write rave reviews about it for nothing. It just wasn't amazing for me. The peel that I like is by Peter Thomas Roth.
Okay.
And I've been using it probably for 2 years. It's his Unwrinkle peel pads. And no, you don't have to have wrinkles to use it. I don't have wrinkles. But for me, it's a preventative measure. It has things like peptides in it. It has vitamins in it. It has all of these ingredients that are very effective, and you swipe it over your face, you leave it on for, I believe, up to 3 minutes, and then you rinse it off, and then you move on to your next step. It's very simple, very easy, and it's one of those few products that when I run out or when I stop using it to try something else, like when I stopped using that to try the Dennis Gross pads, I noticed a difference in my skin. And it was like, I have to get back to that.
Gotcha.
So that is one of my tried and true, I love it products. After that, I'm getting back to the Tatcha regimen. So Tatcha, they recommend that you cleanse, you use the exfoliator, and then you use something called an essence, and then you moisturize. Or you use the essence, then you can use a serum, and then you moisturize. So what an essence is, when I first learned about essences, I'm like, what's an essence? And is this really necessary? And then when I got a sample of it, I'm like, are you serious? It took a minute for me to understand what it was doing for my skin and to appreciate it. And Tatcha is not the only brand that makes an essence. The only other 2 brands that I know of that makes an essence is Amore Pacific and another brand called SK2. And I heard both of those were great as well, but I use Tatcha. It's kind of like a superfood water or like a very vitamin induced water in a sense. I think that's an easy way to explain it. So the consistency of mine is literally like water, and you take it, you pour it into the palm of your hand, and then you kind of apply it to your face, and then you press it into your skin. Okay. And it softens your skin, but more importantly, it primes and preps your skin for the receival of your next skincare products. So you put that on, and then when you use your serum next, it's kind of like a gateway for your next product. So it allows your next product to penetrate more deeply and more effectively. And it really does soften my skin. After I rinse the peel off, my skin, it feels fine, but it doesn't feel like as supple and, because you just rinsed acids off your skin. Right. So this puts the vitamins back in, and as soon as you press it into your skin, it feels soft and your skin kind of feels a little bit luxurious, So after that, that's when I treat. And by treat, I mean products like serums or that are labeled as treatments. So in the morning, I discovered a product, and you actually got it for me for Christmas. I already had a bottle. I don't know if you knew that I had been using, but you must have heard that it was a great product, and you got it for me as well. It's by Algenist, and it's like a breakthrough product. I went to Sephora twice to purchase it, and they were sold out, you know, and I had to go and visit I had to call a few Sephoras to see who had it. And then I went in, but it's by Algenist, and it's their collagen serum. And at first I was a little iffy about it when I heard about it, because I'm like, can you really apply collagen topically, and will it really have an effect? And just let me give you a little bit of an explanation about collagen. Collagen, the way I would explain it is, if you imagine your skin to be a mattress, collagen is kind of like the springs in that mattress that provides firmness, bounce, and plumpness.
Right.
And as you get older, your collagen begins to break down and diminish. So people try to apply it topically, or you can ingest it in the form of supplements. And I would recommend that. I just started a collagen supplement by a brand called Reservage. I also bought their Resveratrol supplement, and I also bought their keratin supplement for
I hope you females
hair.
is loving it, because I know guys are like, what the fuck is she talking about? But go ahead.
Well, you know, keratin is very important for hair and nails. So I bought that as well. So I just ordered all of that from Amazon. And, well, I didn't just order. I ordered about a week ago, and I have it now. And hopefully it's amazing. So as far as like collagen, I'm trying to address it internally and externally. So with this serum or treatment, I think that it's great, but it's one of those things that may take a minute before I can really see results.
Right.
Usually if I don't see results in 6 weeks, I'm shelving a product.
Okay.
And I'm not using it anymore. But something like that, I think it takes time to see a result. So I'm giving it a little bit more grace. Okay. So I use that. And another thing that I use in the morning on top of it, and I'll just say this, I layer. Some people don't have the time to layer, but I layer products. I'll use one serum or one treatment, and then I'll use another one on top of it after I let it soak in for a period of time. And then after that, I'll moisturize.
And how much time does this beauty regimen take every day?
I think I didn't say earlier, probably about 45 minutes.
Okay.
It takes time because I try to be thorough. I try to let everything sink in. If you read the back of a lot of these product boxes, it'll say allowed to sit on skin for 2 minutes before, moving on to your next step. If it says 2, I'm going to let it sit for 10. But that's just me because, they say that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make sure that it really sunk in. Do you know what I mean? So That's just me. You can follow what it says on the box, but I like to. So for instance, when I put the collagen treatment on, I leave that on for at least 10 minutes and I go do something. Then I come back and then I use Drunk Elephant's C Firma Day Serum. And I really like that serum. It's a little sticky, a little tacky, but when you apply it, I pat it in, I pat it into my skin a little bit and it kind of takes away a little bit of the tackiness. And then it winds up not mattering at all because then I follow it with a moisturizer.
Okay.
But the C Firma Day Serum does exactly what it says. It's formulated to provide firmness to the skin and everybody should have a vitamin C serum in their skincare regimen. Okay. Like that, vitamin C is an antioxidant and it's necessary when it comes to skincare. And it's beneficial to apply it during the day because there are other products that are beneficial for the night that you can't apply during the day, or I would say it's best not to apply during the day. Okay. So I use the C Firma in the morning, and after that, I follow with a moisturizer, and I use Tatcha's the Silk Cream moisturizer during the day.
Now, moisturizer is the last step, correct?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Sounds like it would be the moisturizer.
Right.
For some people, it can. For a long time, I used to use Murad's I can't remember exactly what it was called. Vitamin C. It was a vitamin C moisturizer that also had SPF 30 in it.
Okay.
And I used that every day. You use that a lot. You would go into my bin and take that out and use it. Yes.
Yep.
So you can combine a moisturizer and a SPF in one step. And I did it for a long time, but I choose to do it separately. I find that when you do things separately, it's more effective. So I use a moisturizer and then I'll let that sit for about 15 minutes and then I'll go on my skin afterwards with an SPF. And the one that I use right now is Clarins. And part of the reason why I use that is because it has a very high SPF for the skin at 50. And I like that. But there are a lot of different SPFs. People can you can see what blends nicely with your skincare regimen. Because SPFs have a tendency to be a little greasy.
Right.
And, you put it on, especially after, all these other products, and it's like, oh, I feel like my skin's oil slick. And, Clarins isn't necessarily greasy, but it's not very dry either. So I let that sit before I go on with my makeup. So it does take a long time.
So that is your whole process.
That's my day process.
Now, that's crazy about it is you explaining it. You say it takes you 30 minutes to put it on, 35, 45 minutes. It just took you 30 minutes to explain it.
No, it did take 30 minutes. Well, I'm trying to be relatively thorough. And I'm trying to fight through you looking at me with that halfway bored look. That halfway like, all right, I'm over it look. So you're slightly distracting as I'm trying to explain. But yeah, I mean, if someone's listening to this segment of the podcast, I'm assuming that it means that they're interested in maybe changing something in their skincare routine.
Correct.
So I'm trying to be relatively thorough without being long-winded, because if you think that this took 30 minutes, it could really take an hour, because with a lot of the things that I'm talking about, I know damn near the entire ingredient list. And I know what all the ingredients are formulated to do.
And don't get it twisted. Everybody out there listening, I know Gia was like, well, there's none, I don't have enough time. No, Gia finds time. Like, it'll be 3 a.m. We'll just get back and she won't get into bed for 35, 40 minutes because she has to wash her face every night and she has to wash her face every morning.
Yes. So now when it comes to the nighttime routine, it's very similar. First, I don't start out with just a cleanser because I don't feel as though cleansers really remove all of your makeup efficiently enough. So I love Tatcha's, it's called Pure. It's their Camellia.
You said Tatcha so much. We got to get a deal with Tatcha shit.
Yeah, no.
Let's find out who owns Tatcha. Tatcha, you need to holler at me. I'm her agent and manager.
Word. So anyway, I think it's called, it's Pure. It's their Camellia makeup removing oil, I believe is the actual the name of it. And it's just, and when I talk about their products, I can't help but use the word luxurious. I feel as though the packaging is luxurious, like the packaging is beautiful, the bottles are beautiful, the formulations are beautiful. And I mean, it's just an oil, but it's like a silky oil that you apply to your skin, you apply to your eyes, and you work it in to dissolve your eye makeup, and it really dissolves like every drop of makeup. It's incredible. It really is. It dissolves. It doesn't matter how much makeup you have on, if you have bronzer, blush, eyeshadow, eyeliner. The only thing that it doesn't remove easily, and I haven't found anything that removes this easily, is waterproof mascara. Like, waterproof mascara is the devil. It looks great, but when it comes time to remove it, it's like a hassle. I got a free sample.
What about nut stains?
Tide removes nut stains.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay, just because you inquired.
Okay.
I'm here for it.
All right.
I don't know what I was saying, actually. Thanks.
Oh, you were saying that
you're on a roll today.
I'm sorry. You were saying that water mascara.
Oh, yeah. So I got a free sample of a product by Too Faced that I like, that I'm actually going to go and buy. My sample is running out, but it's a waterproof mascara makeup remover. And it looks like a mascara wand. So you dip it into,
oh my gosh, this sounds
you dip
amazing.
it into the container and you apply it like mascara. And it's an oil, I believe.
Oh my gosh.
And can you stop?
Well, I'm excited. Go ahead.
And it dissolves your mascara. So what I do is, that's the first thing that I use now. So I use the Too Faced mascara makeup remover. I let that sit on my lashes while I use the Tatcha oil, and I work that into the rest of the makeup on my face, and it dissolves it all. It takes about like 2 minutes. I kind of let it sit so it can penetrate and really melt it off. And then when I rinse my face, my skin is 100% free of makeup.
Okay.
Because sometimes, you use a cleanser and you try to take your makeup off and you still see makeup on your face, or if you take a white Kleenex or something and you run it across your hairline, you run it across, your eyes, you're still going to see some traces of makeup, and you don't want that. So this oil prevents that. It dissolves all of the makeup and it rinses and goes right down the sink. So after that, I go on with my deep polish like I do in the morning. No mask in the evening. I move on to a peel. The peel that I use at night is also by Peter Thomas Roth. I just got this one about 3 weeks ago. I really like it. I think it's called something like retinol PM peel. And retinols are better to use in the evening.
Sounds like it goes in the butt.
Because retinol, you're an idiot.
What? Dad.
Yes. So retinol is it's better to use in the evening because it can make you develop sun sensitivity. So you want to use it in the evening as opposed to in the morning. Not to say that I have an eye serum that I use that has retinol in it that I can use during the day. But, the highly concentrated ones, I use them at night. So anyway, I use that peel and then I treat. Now, no. Then I soften and prime with my Tatcha essence and then I treat. Now, the treatment that I use in the evening is probably my favorite skincare products of all time. And if you ask me why, it's because I used it one night and when I woke up in the morning, the difference was undeniable. It's by a brand called Sunday Riley. And a lot of people that probably use Sunday Riley are like, yep, I know what she's about to talk about, because it's gotten a lot of notoriety, the brand in and of itself, but specifically these two products. First is their Luna oil. And Luna oil has, I think it's called trans retinoid ester, maybe. Don't quote me on that, but it has a form of retinol in it. And it's not just straight retinol, it's a form, maybe like a cousin of retinol, but it has a similar effect. And it's formulated in an oil. So it's called Luna Sleeping Night Oil. And you apply that to your skin and it's blue. It's blue. There's a natural component of it that makes it blue, but I believe it also has some type of coloring in it, which isn't really desirable. And the way that Sunday Riley describes the reason why she did that, she said that she really only wants people to use it at night, and it being this bright color blue is like a reminder that you're only supposed to use it at night. The color does dissolve away as you work it into the skin, so you're not sitting there with a blue face, but that's the reason why. She just wants people to understand, this is specifically for night. Do not use it in the morning. So that product, it's supposed to address damn near everything: brightness, fine lines, clarity, dullness, uneven skin texture, etc. It kind of runs the gamut as far as its benefits. I let that sit on my skin for about 15 minutes, longer if I have the time. And then I go on with her superstar product. And this is not only her number one product, but I think I've been told that it is the number one product in Sephora, period. And it's her treatment called Good Genes. And Good Genes is a lactic acid treatment that when you put it on, you feel a tingle, not a burn, but just a slight tingle. And the lactic acid treatment pretty much does all of the same things. It's for clarity, brightness, just everything. It has so many benefits, and you layer them one on top of the other. It seems weird that you would layer a treatment or something that's more of a serum texture over an oil. It definitely came across to me as strange, but it is absolutely how it is recommended by Sunday Riley. So that's what I do. And I mean, I literally woke up the next day and my skin was glowing, clear. My pores were tight. It just, like, everything about my skin, I absolutely loved.
Okay.
And then after that, I go on with a moisturizer. The moisturizer that I use is Tatcha's Ageless Moisturizer, which they do not sell at Sephora. I had to get that from Tatcha.com, but it's their like supercharged moisturizer. It's their best moisturizer.
Just quick thing. How you spell Tatcha?
Tatcha.
Okay, for people
I spelled
out
it
there.
earlier. But it's their best moisturizer. They recommend it for either very dry skin or very mature skin. I don't have either. My skin is normal. I have normal skin, but I like to use moisturizers in the evening that are for more mature skin because they're usually packed with more antioxidants. They're usually more emollient. They usually penetrate better. Like, it's to take care of skin that's really at a deficit. So if my skin's not at a deficit and I use that, I feel as though the benefits are going to be really great for me. So I usually use moisturizers like that at night. And right now, Ageless is my favorite. Now, mind you, people, a lot of these products are pricey. You know? I've even looked at some of them and like, wow, like balked at the price, like yeeks. But for me, it's an investment, and your wellness and beauty is important. So if that's something that's important to you, it might be something worth, saving or putting money to the side to work your way up to certain products. And if not, then, take a look. Go to Sephora.com and look up some of these products. And if you scroll, you can put in, say, for instance, Tatcha, the Silk Cream.
Okay.
And once you search it, a picture of it will pop up, or, Tatcha's whole line will pop up. You click on the item and then you can scroll down and it'll show you details on the product, and it'll say read more, and then you can get more details on the product. And then there's another tab that says how to use. So you can read how to use it. And then you can read reviews. And I have literally spent hours reading reviews on products just to see how other people's experiences have been. So, you take a look at it, and then you can also look at the ingredients, the main ingredients. So if, for instance, that product is too pricey for you at the current time, you can look for alternative products that have similar ingredients. And you can always ask somebody at Sephora. I mean, the girls there are usually so nice and helpful, and they're relatively educated in, the ingredients and the benefits and whatnot. So you can always find alternatives and maybe garnish similar results.
Okay. Wow. Well, I'm sure the people are happy with your facial.
One more thing.
Okay. Go.
I'm sorry. I forgot to, I just tapped on it briefly, but I forgot to mention about eye care. I also use an eye serum. So when I put on my skin serum, my face serum, I use an eye serum as well. And then when I put on my moisturizer, I put on an eye cream as well. So right now I'm using Dr. Dennis Gross's, I think it's his retinol and ferulic acid eye serum, which is nice. And I'm using an eye cream by Belief. And I think it's their Peat eye cream. It comes in a green container. And this product is friggin' fantastic. So let me just not end before I tell them about this. It's by Peter Thomas Roth, and it's their 24 karat gold eye gel masks, like gel eye masks, I think they're called. It comes in a gold container. You got it for me for Christmas. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. I just got a bunch of shit that was the best shit in Sephora.
Oh my gosh. When you talk about like measurable results, if you have any under eye concerns, I'm not really sure if it treats, I know it's supposed to treat dark circles, but I can't testify to that because I don't really have dark circles. But It's a gold gel mask that you put under your eyes. It's like kind of soaking in a serum, if you will, like a clear gel serum type thing. You put it under your eyes and you let it sit for maybe 20 minutes. When you peel that gel mask off of your under eye area, the skin under your eye the skin under my eye is damn near like porcelain. I mean, smooth, like, and I don't really have fine lines yet, but those little creases just from freaking having eyes, like, they are just, it's so taut. And it's really, really, really nice. If you can, and I think that they would probably give you a sample at Sephora and put it in one of those little bags or whatever, or use it right there in the store. I mean, I think that it's fantastic. So I use that. I put that on, and then I put the 24 karat gold mask on the rest of my face. And then when I rinse everything off, well, I don't rinse off the serum left behind by the gel mask, but when I rinse the rest of my face, I mean, it's really, really great. So anyway, if you guys use any of these products currently, leave a comment when I post the promo for this podcast. And if you choose to later on get any of these, let me know how it worked out for you. Let me know.
You can always hit Gia in the DM, or you can always email us, thekcrew@gmail.com. That's THEEKCrew@gmail.com. And I think what you should do in the future is you should YouTube yourself doing the process, the 30-minute process, washing your face and this, that, and the other, where you're like, well, people can see how you're actually doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I cut this short, for you.
Thank you.
But this is kind of like in a nutshell. I mean, that might be a good idea. I've watched some YouTube videos with people talking about their skincare routine and whatnot, and I enjoyed them. So I don't know, maybe that's something I'll do in the future.
I think that'd be dope. Well, yeah. I'm sure people are happy.
We know you won't tune in.
For the what?
You won't be a subscriber.
For the YouTube?
Yeah.
Depends what you're wearing. All right. Well, I'm sure people are happy that you told them how, and they can always hit you up if they have any other questions. And don't forget, we're doing a live show. All right. We did it last year. We sold out 2 shows. This year, we're only doing 1 show. So get your tickets fast. It will sell out. It's at the Highline Ballroom. And get your tickets now. You can go to highlineballroom.com. Get your tickets. It's 1 show. It's February 19th. It's President's Day, so there's no work or school on that day. And come on out. We'll have a good time. We'll have dinner. We'll have some drinks. And we'll shoot the shit and we'll talk relationship.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, it's time to get up out of here. This is a long-ass podcast.
Really? How long do you think it is?
This is about an hour and 30, hour and 40.
Yeah. Okay.
Hour 30 minutes. All right. Well, I'm DJ Envy.
And I'm Gia Casey.
And that's another edition of the KC Crew.
Toodles, beautiful people.